Wow. What a game last night. What an atmosphere. Game 3, wild card round. Rookie versus rookie. What better can you expect? As a fan, I was on the edge of my seat. I knew Cam Schlittler was good. I knew he was a really solid arm. But I didn't know what he was going to be. What Cam Schlittler were we going to see in a winner-take-all game where the loser goes home? I knew Cam was going to be pumped up playing at Yankee Stadium. No doubt about that in my mind. But you still had to wonder, considering what happened the first 2 games, how Boone managed the game with Max Fried, took him out in some people's eyes too soon. And then the other night, some people say he let Rodon pitch too long, even though the Yankees did manage to squeak out Game 2. The main meat of the pen was used up. Devin Williams, Cruz, Bednar, who ended up closing the game in Game 3. So you had to wonder how much length were you going to get out of Schlittler. And then you had to ask yourself, as I mentioned in the first 2 games, how was Boone going to manage the pen? And for once, I will give Aaron Boone his props. And I've been very hard on him, and rightfully so, because of how he doesn't trust things with his eyes. He lets his binder do all the talking. He lets analytics make the decisions for him. And I can probably assure you he was under a lot of pressure himself, because if he messed this up, he might have been let go after today. Who knows? He might have been let go after last night if the Yankees came up short. But the fact of the matter is, they did win the game. He trusted Schlittler. He let him go deep. He let him go 8 innings, 12 Ks. There was really not a moment in the game that Schlittler gave you any thoughts of he ever lost control. You saw a pitcher out there, a rookie, honestly, who looked like he'd been doing this for 5 to 6 years. He didn't look phased. He didn't look nervous. He looked in control out there from the very beginning of the game. He was regularly hitting 100 with his fastball. He was regularly throwing strikes, which was maybe something that he struggled a little bit with when he first came up. But he's had the great opportunity of sitting behind veteran pitchers like a Garrett Cole, like a Rodon, like a Max Fried. And he did pick up things. And he did learn and make adjustments. And ever since Cam got called up in July, he got better and better with each start. So I think it's fair to say, Yankee fans, that we have a future ace. And I think we have someone that's going to be a very important part of this rotation in the future. There's no doubt in my mind that he was able to handle the atmosphere of New York better than anyone. So the Yankees finally beat the Red Sox for the first time since 2003 in a playoff series. It's really crazy when you think about it, how long it's been since the Yankees last eliminated Boston in a playoff. It's crazy. Who could forget 2004 blowing the 0-3 lead, blowing a 3-0 lead in the American League Championship Series? Who could forget that? I certainly never did. Who can forget coming up short in 2018, coming up short in 2021? Again, both of those, by the way, were in the wild card round. And back then, the wild card round was a 1-game playoff. That was it. 1 game and you were out. And the Yankees kept coming up short on both of those. Then into this season where the Yankees went 4-9 against the Red Sox this season. But finally, when the going got tough, finally when the big games come, the important games that the Yankees know they need to win, the playoffs, at least this go-around, the Yankees finally conquered that first demon. So now, honestly, with a pretty decent pitching staff, and Aaron Boone even hinted after the game, this is the best team he's had in what, 7 years he's been managing. You'll take your chances. Toronto will be a very, very tall order. A team that doesn't strike out, a team that will put the ball in play. So the Yankees infield, outfield, they are going to be tested. For the most part, at least from the wild card game, the infield defense did fine. But yeah, Game 3, there were some moments there. Jazz made a throw that thankfully Volpe made a good pick and stab at to get the out at second. Who knows if that ball had been thrown away? What if Volpe couldn't handle that? Because we've been killing Volpe all season for his defense. But ever since Volpe had whatever work he did on his labrum tear from this season, he's slowly gotten back to the Volpe of old. That was the Gold Glove fielder that everybody talked about. So I hope that's a good sign going forward. And at least from what we've seen with Volpe in the playoffs, he's a different player when it's postseason time. And he showed that again in Game 3 with that big single that made it 2-0 and really started the Yankees' 4-run fourth inning following Amed Rosario. Boone finally had the balls to stick with Cam, realizing if your guy is dealing, why take him out? So he finally took a page out of Alex Cora's playbook when he let Garrett Crochet throw 118 pitches. And why? Well, for Crochet, he's your ace. For Cam, this was a little uncharted territory for him to go about 107 pitches, but the guy was dealing, the guy's throwing strikes, your bullpen needs a break because you've used up your big arms. So why not? You let Cam go as deep as you can go with him, and maybe only have to use one arm. I thought maybe the Yankees would go to Weaver because he wasn't used in Game 2. But you know what? Bednar is your guy to close. I get it. Fine. It was good to finally see players like Aaron Judge, who had been ridiculed for how he has struggled in the playoffs. He got big hits in this series. It was good to see Stanton poke a little fun at himself, legging out what ended up being a double when he thought he had a home run. It was good to see Rosario get the big hit in Game 3 to start the Yankees' 4-run fourth. A move Boone was ridiculed for in Game number 1, when I know righties like Rosario hit lefties better. But it was where you had Rosario hit and why you didn't play Ben Rice. That created the whole bunch of anger, and obviously it was rightfully so. It was rightfully deserved why he did that mistake. But Boone adjusted. I'll give him that. So now you go into a critical division series against the Blue Jays. You're going to go up north to play Toronto. This is a team that not only also, like the Red Sox, won the season series against you, but the Yankees this season in Toronto, it was like a shop of horrors, particularly when it came to errors. The errors were rampant when the Yankees were in Toronto this year. So you have to hope this is a different Yankee team from that point. I would certainly hope they are. At least they showed something in Game 3 last night. They showed they can respond. They can turn the page when their backs are against the wall. And they're going to need that. They're going to need every piece of that if they're going to beat Toronto. Was beating the Red Sox the first step? It's amazing how he had two kids, Cam and Ben Rice, who were both, by the way, Massachusetts natives, and their families were Red Sox fans, and yet they're pitching for New York. They became Yankees. I'm just glad they're on our side. So now you set the table for Toronto. Very formidable pitching staff, just like the Yanks. And the Yankees are likely going to start Game 1 with Luis Heel, which would make sense. You do have Will Warren, but do I want to go with a rookie in Game 1? And Heel does walk batters, Warren does throw strikes, but the Blue Jays are a team that doesn't strike out. So you're going to have to earn every single out you get against this team. And the Blue Jays have very much capable hitters in that lineup. Of course, the main man in that lineup is Vlad Guerrero Jr. But you got George Springer, another ghost from the Yankees past that always seemed to have the upper hand on them, just as you took out Alex Bregman, who had the same hand when he was an Astro. Same thing with Springer. So how will you do this go-around in the biggest playoff series, in the division series? And if you can believe, this is the very first time that the Yankees and Blue Jays ever meet in a playoff. It's amazing when you think about it. It's amazing when you go back all those years and you see, wow, how did the Yankees and Blue Jays not match up? Well, finally, that chapter will start getting written on Saturday, 4:08 p.m. at the Rogers Centre in Toronto, Canada. But the Yankees are going to be tested, as I've said. And you're going to need your bullpen for this series, and I will be very curious how Boone manages his pen against a team like Toronto. You can only get away with so many things when you play the Blue Jays. But the thing you don't want to give this lineup is free bases, extra outs. You don't and you cannot make a mistake against the Blue Jays, or they will make you pay. One good thing with Toronto, as far as the back end of the pen is concerned, they don't really have a left-hander. So Aaron will not have to be put in a position where he has to play a righty lineup going against a left-hander. At least in this series, he won't. But the Blue Jays get to set the rotation the way they want because they won the division and they didn't have to play in the wild card round. So they get to start their rotation from their ace pitcher down. The Yankees don't get that luxury. So more than likely, my guess is you'll probably see Kevin Gausman pitch game 1. Maybe Bieber game 2. Maybe you go to Scherzer game 3. Barrios 4. The Blue Jays can really mix this up however they want. The key for me is how do you navigate this lineup? Because everyone in this lineup is going to be a tough at bat. Everyone in this lineup is going to make the Yankees pitchers work. So you're going to have to take every approach to keeping this Blue Jays team at bay if you're going to have a chance to beat them. So 1 week is down. One round of the playoffs are complete. The wild card round is done. And it was a very exciting, for all other teams besides just the Yanks, it was a very fun and entertaining wild card round to kick off the postseason. I can only imagine what the division series is going to look like. I can only imagine what the championship series is going to look like. And then I can only fathom what the World Series is going to look like. But congratulations to the Yankees. First step completed. Now it's on to the division series. 5 games, best of 5 against Toronto. And I hope the Yankees can play with the same fortitude and mental toughness they did against Boston. If they do that, I think they can go on a very deep run. And I think they have a team that's very capable of taking them on that deep run. Only time will tell. Jonathan Pariente, The Execution 10, saying bye for now.